evening and welcome to another episode of Late Night with Lenette. I'm Lenette Peterson, your host. Welcome back to episode 2 with survival instructor Chick Wetherbee. This week we're going to discuss survival skills. You're lost in the woods. Don't panic. We have the expert that's going to show us and tell us what to do. Welcome to show number 2.
Thanks.
So, I'm on a hike. I get separated from my group. The sun's going down. I'm ready to panic. What should I do?
Don't panic.
Good advice.
That's the big thing. Don't panic.
Don't panic.
In survival, basic survival is primarily what I teach. Is you go into the woods where you were. You had your backpack.
Yeah.
I would send you in without your backpack.
Ah.
Because you go in with nothing. Now, the environment out there will give you everything that you need. It's offered to you. You just have to know different things on what to do.
Right. Okay.
The Native Americans, that's the only time I'll mention them because it's all indigenous after that.
Right.
They talked about the sacred four. And the sacred four is shelter, water, fire, and food. That's the sacred four. If you remember that when you're out there. Now, you're out there now. That's it.
Can you repeat those for everyone?
Yep. Shelter,
Yep.
water, fire, and food. Now, they're all very, very important,
Exactly.
but that is the order that they should be taken in. Shelter is number one on being out in the woods. Because first of all, you need to keep away from hypothermia.
Yep.
You have to keep warm and dry. So what do? You know, you have to figure out something. You know, a lot of my people in my classes will say, well, I could make a lean-to. Okay, a lean-to will keep you dry for a short time, but you're going to get cold.
Right.
And usually you're going to get wet.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Depending on which way the wind's blowing.
Right.
Yeah, you
Right.
could get very wet.
A lot of people say, well, what about a cave? Okay, a cave is good if it's big enough for you to go into.
Right.
But today, say you could walk into a cave. Hypothermia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hypothermia starts at 55 degrees. Most of us don't know that.
Wow. Yeah, I would have guessed around freezing.
Yep. No.
Wow.
There are a few types of hypothermia.
Right.
But if we are sitting here in this room, and it's 55 degrees, and we don't get up or move or do anything,
Gotcha.
what happens is within our bodies we have an air conditioner and we have a heater.
Yep.
And at 55 degrees, it gets right there. It doesn't heat you and it doesn't cool you. So it shuts off after a matter of time.
Oh, wow.
So pretty soon it sets in. 55 degrees. It takes a while.
Right. Yep.
And I say to people, you know, if you are in a cave or something like that, get up and move around. You know,
Right.
that'll keep your heater going. But inside that cave, you go 10 feet into that cave, it's 55 degrees. Whether it's December 31st or August 1st, it's 55 degrees.
Right.
So you have to be aware of that. A cave is a great place. You might have to share it with a bear.
Exactly. I was just going to say, you might be sharing with a critter.
Yeah. but that's what you have to be aware of is hypothermia.
Oh, yeah.
Really scary, scary stuff. That's where a debris hut comes into. And a debris hut is to your waist, your hip bone, your hip bone,
Yep.
is where this stick is. And that goes from here right down to the ground.
Gotcha.
And you either tie it off on a tree or you make a fork so it can set in it. Then you start piling on debris, sticks and everything, just as a lean-to, both sides.
Now, how deep do you want to get it? How much debris do you want to put on there?
Okay, I'll come right to that.
Yeah.
Then when you have all your structure here, then you start adding leaves and other types of debris. You also fill it inside so that you can get warm. You're going to get into a nice down sleeping bag with the leaves all around you.
Yep.
So you start filling this up, all on both sides. If you put 4 feet of debris on it, so that you're reaching through debris and you can just touch the ribs in there.
Gotcha. So about as long as your arm.
Right, as long as your arm.
Yep.
That's good to about 0.
Whoa. Yep. Now, I mentioned on our last show of the environmental science program with Milford Christian Academy. Well, we had our students make these, and they got bonus points if they slept in them. And some of our boys that slept in them said it was warmer than their tents in their sleeping bag. Now, there's one crucial element you have to do when you make a debris hut. Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. After you make it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, now I know.
Smoke it out. You get rid of the bugs.
Right. Grab a leaf or anything, any type of vessel. Put some pine needles in it. Fire it up so there's good smoke, and you put it inside the debris hut. Now, you have to remember, the debris hut is a tinderbox.
Right. Smoke only.
Yeah, smoke only. And what happens is that all the bugs will come out of here to get away. It's a forest fire to them.
Right.
So they get out. When you have smoked it, or smudged, it's good for about 2 days.
Yeah.
And then they move back in.
Yeah, we had one young gentleman that did not smoke his debris hut, and the next morning it was nice and warm, but he was also covered with bug bites.
Yeah.
He got half the bonus points. It's important to smoke the critters out.
Right.
You don't want to share your debris hut.
Right. It's for one person only.
Right. Yeah. And folks, they are warm. You don't need a sleeping bag. You don't need a blanket. And like I said, these kids were warmer in their debris hut than the kids in their sleeping bags and tents.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing how they work. So that's your shelter. This, if you practice at home, should take you to a debris hut to probably 32 degrees. It should take you about an hour to make.
Oh, wow.
Now, if you're making one of these and you're surviving, you're out there for a few days, every time you come back, throw some more debris on it.
Oh, gotcha.
If it's snowing out, throw snow on it.
Yeah.
Snow is a great insulator.
Right.
It's really great. But keep it building and building and building. At Beaverbrook, over in Hollis, my classes, we build one of these. And this past spring, last spring, I'm mixing up here.
Yeah.
My class takes place in August, and we build a debris hut. The next spring, I went in, I'm talking last year, I went in to the woods and went to it. It was still dry inside.
Oh, wow.
And we had a rough winter.
Yeah,
Not last
year.
winter, the winter before.
Right, yeah.
And wind and everything else. It was all together.
That is so cool.
Yeah, and dry inside.
Yeah, wow.
So this will keep you warm and dry.
Oh, very good.
And you want it confining.
Right.
Because you don't want any air to get in. Now, if you build one, I usually recommend building one at your house.
Gotcha.
Or if you're camping, say, I'm going to live in the debris hut.
Right.
Put up your tent.
Yeah.
Come into this. If you're cold and you get damp, get out of it.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, get a good night's sleep. Come back and find out what you did wrong. Usually there's a hole in back here where the air is just coming right through. And you always want to have it the door facing, and you would make a door to put on here, to the east, because the wind comes from the west, primarily here in
Exactly.
New England.
Yep.
So the wind would come right up over it.
Right.
In the Pine Barrens, there is a class where we live in them all week, and we were there one winter, and over them, a couple snowmobiles drove over them. And they didn't even know they were there. I mean, they were covered with snow.
Oh, too funny.
Yeah. They never caved in or anything.
That is hysterical.
So that's one of the things. See, nature supplies it.
Right. And now, folks, remember, if you're lost in the woods and you're going to build your debris hut, you want the door facing east, You have to know where east is. So it's always good to know the position of the sun, where the sun is at certain times of day.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's a good time. The sun sets in the west. It's already east is this way.
Right.
Yeah. It's always
Yeah.
important.
Yep. And another thing, if you don't know telling direction when you don't have the sun, trees,
Right.
the front part of them are lighter than the other side because we do not get the sun in the north here. It's the sun that we get is always in the south.
Right. Yeah. So the
the
southern
south-
exposure is light.
Yeah, the tree is lighter. And check a couple trees. Don't take the first one and say, "Oh, okay, that's it." And it may not be.
Now, is it true that moss only grows on the north side of a tree?
No.
Hear that? No.
It'll grow anywhere.
Exactly.
Because you get into the woods, it's not getting light.
Right,
So
exactly.
the moss just comes around front.
Right, yeah.
So that's it. So water is number 2, You can bring water with you. If you happen to be in a survival situation, you may not have this with you. Or
It's not going to, if you're lost, that's not going to last very long.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So what on earth do you do for water?
Water. You can find a field or find leaves in the morning, leaves and branches, leaves on trees. Take off your shirt and just wipe them. Wipe the ground. Get the dew off the ground.
Yeah.
Squeeze it up.
Yeah.
It's going to taste like your shirt.
Hopefully you don't sweat too bad and it doesn't stink too much.
But the thing is that, you've got less than 48 hours
Right.
before you start doing damage to yourself.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So you really need water. It's worth doing it.
Right. Oh, yeah, yeah.
So that's one way of doing it. Finding a grapevine in the woods, and they are all around because they grow here.
Right.
Up out of the ground, you cut it about 3 feet off the ground, tip it over, and it'll give you about 1 liter of water a day.
Oh, wow.
It'll just drip into it. Now, you've killed the grapevine.
Right.
So if you find one in your backyard, don't do it. Just take my word for it. It doesn't work.
Yeah, you don't want to kill all your mother's grapevines.
Right, right. The next is a solar still. And as I said last week in the show, bring it in. Carry this. It really doesn't weigh anything. And what you do is you dig a hole 3 feet deep. You put this across it with a receptacle in it. This is a burned-in bowl here. Put an ash on it and just kept blowing. This is my sample size.
Gotcha.
The others are bigger.
I bet, yeah. You can't eat too much out of that.
Right. But you put this down in the 3-foot hole. You put the top across, and it should be opaque, as that is. Then you make a cone from it, and you can put a rock in the top, so it's aiming right over this.
Gotcha. Yep.
And what happens is that the water on the cone develops inside when the sun comes up.
Right.
And it runs down into here. This can give you pretty close to a gallon
yeah.
a day if the sun is out.
Right. Yeah.
Now, if it slows down, all you have to do is go out and grab some grass or something, throw it in the 3-foot hole around this, and it'll take the moisture out of the
Right.
grass.
It acts like a terrarium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And the moisture, it's like when you're putting leftovers in a Tupperware container. If you put it in too hot, you get the moisture on the lid.
Up on the top.
Exactly. And that's the same type of thing. And the water's just going to run right off into your bowl.
And you can use, and I tell people, go to the beach and dig a hole and do this. Salt water, it distills the water so that you're getting clean water because the salt weighs too much.
Oh, gotcha.
It won't rise up, so you have fresh water.
Oh, that's too cool. Yeah.
That's great. Fire. How do you get fire? Now, I carry in my pocket, it's here, a Bic.
Yeah.
I always have a Bic with me. I am always in survival mode. I'm not serious about it,
Right, yeah.
But I always carry it. You never know.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know. So
now you're in the woods, but you don't have a Bic.
right, okay.
Yeah, you don't have a flint. I always have a flint in my backpack just in case, and I always have a lighter. But
Yep. Here's your striker. Here.
Exactly. Yep.
That's,
I always
that's
have.
on my.
Yeah. You weren't expecting it. You didn't prepare properly. You don't have a Bic. You don't have your striker. I'm starting to panic. How am I going to get my fire?
Stop. Bow drill.
Yeah.
Or if you're very proficient, a hand drill. But that is something that you have to do
Right.
all the time.
Right.
Otherwise, you wear your hand out. Now, a bow drill comprises of a fireboard, a handhold, a spindle, and a bow. You're probably saying, okay, I don't have parachute cord. How do I make a bow? How do I make cordage? Okay. This is made from tiger lily. Okay?
Oh wow.
Just weaved in.
Holy cow! And this this is not going to break easily.
This is made from milkweed.
Oh wow. Now that is
And
cool.
It would be good if you made it.
Yep.
It would be good for about 5 fires because the action of the spindle on it will rip it apart.
Yeah, the friction.
So it isn't, and that's why I use parachute cord.
Right.
This is good for about 150 fires.
I'm sure.
You know,
yeah.
and you're demoing it most of the time.
And that's another reason why you should always carry some kind of cordage in your
Right.
backpack.
Right.
Yeah.
Any leaf that is like a yucca plant, a snake plant. A lot of people have snake plants in their house.
Yep.
But I have some that I make fish line from.
Oh,
Very
cool.
thin, and you can't break it. You
Yeah.
know? But fire is your friend.
Exactly. Heat. Cook your food. Purify your water if there's a stream nearby.
Yep. And light.
And light. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's it. I'm not going to do it, but
Yeah. Please don't catch the table on
yeah,
fire.
right. Well, no, your alarms would go off.
Yeah, and the sprinklers might turn on.
Yes, and the fire department would come.
Yeah.
And they would not be too happy.
No.
So, this. So this is. You would take it, your fireboard, put that in there. You would be putting your foot on here, and you would then. I don't think I'll do it because it has to be really down
Right.
there. But this goes back and forth. The friction will cause a coal in the bottom of this V. You then take the coal out and you put it into some sort of tinder that you can find in the woods,
Yep.
any type of thing. Inside you find a dead tree. Take the bark off of it
Yep.
and you scrape it. And it'll come out similar to this.
Yeah. Yeah, my daughter and I always hike and backpack with a bag of dryer lint.
Yeah.
And also, a lot of times, my oldest daughter, when she comes hiking with us, always makes sure she brings a bag of Fritos because they learned in hunter safety that Fritos are a great way to start a fire. And we've tried it. Fritos corn chips, because they're so oily and everything, light real
Right.
easy. So she always brings
I
Fritos
never
corn
thought
chips.
of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah, a couple extra things just to, in case we need to make fire.
Right.
Yeah,
So you make the fire. You can do anything with it.
yeah,
From
yeah.
then on, contain it though. Contain it.
Yeah, you don't want to burn the forest down.
And you want to have it at least 10 feet away, downwind, from your debris hut.
Yeah.
Because you don't want it creeping up in the
No,
middle
and
of
one
the
little
night.
one little spark on your debris hut, and your debris hut's gone.
Right.
Yeah, and you better
Right.
start running or
Yeah.
get that fire out before
Yeah.
you consume the
Or you're going to be
forest.
nice and warm for about 5 minutes.
Exactly. You better be able to run fast and know when you're running.
Right. Awareness. Awareness is something that in our lives today we don't have to be.
Right.
You know, we're becoming more and more aware of what's going on in the world and things like that. So we're getting there. But everybody should be able to feel what's wrong, know what's wrong, and how to act. Now, superheroes, don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. It's better to get help if you can. You know, if you have to stand there and do something, that's your call. But it's better to get out and get help if it's needed.
Right.
Now, in the woods, I teach total vision, which is, I'm talking to you, I can see the control room.
Right, exactly,
You know?
yep.
And that's how much I am. We walk around in tunnel vision. We block all of this out. We're only looking in front of ourselves. So open up, you know, be aware of everything that's going on. You know, a car passes us, you know, and cuts us off like this, and you're looking, license plate 55522, you know, I'll remember that. Oh boy, you know.
Yeah.
You don't have to. You've already looked at it, and if you stay in total vision, you would have seen that person coming in and cut in front of you.
Right, exactly.
You know, first of all, you shouldn't get angry because that person might be on the way to the hospital. That person might have this going wrong. Give them the benefit of the doubt, you know, that there's something going on. You know, let them go.
Yeah,
Let them,
yeah,
and even if they just want to speed, just say, I hope there's a policeman down the road.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
But anyway, you know, in total vision, all animals are in total vision. And we wonder why, you know, when we're walking in the woods, we don't see them.
Exactly.
Because they have seen us about a minute before anything.
Oh yeah. When I take teen girls hiking a lot, and we'll be walking, and I'll comment. I say, "Oh, girls, did you see the lady slippers?" And I'll wait till I pass them. They say, "No, where?" And we'll walk back, and a lot. Did you see? No. And now look around, and I'll find things, and they'll. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
They walked right by. We've walked by. I mean, the girls were always funny because you would find stone walls in the middle of the woods. How did they get there?
Yeah.
And they don't understand that New Hampshire used to be 80% farmland.
Right.
And we'll be in the middle of nowhere in the White Mountains, and I'll say, "Girls, did you see the rusted out old truck?" "No." "In the woods?" I said, "Yep." And we'll hike back, 50 feet or so. I said, "Now look around," and sure enough, off to the side, a rusty old truck. There was
Yeah.
an old farm there.
Yeah.
You gotta have your eyes open.
Yeah, or an old cellar hole.
Oh yeah.
And most 90% of all the stone walls in New Hampshire, when you're out there, not the ones around your house
Yeah,
and everything
yep.
else, but when you come across one in the woods, run north, south, east, west.
Right. Yeah.
They were exactly the way they set them
We've
up.
found old barbed wire fences with trees that have grown into them.
Yeah.
You find some cool stuff
Yeah.
if you open your eyes and
Right.
look. But you gotta pay attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awareness.
Oh yeah.
Total awareness. You should always be a tourist in your own home.
Yeah. There you go.
You know, you set your keys down here, and then you go, I don't know where my keys are. You know, I don't know where they are. You know,
All the time.
a tourist would find them.
Right. Yeah.
You know, they'd walk in and go, oh, your keys are right here. You know,
Yeah.
because they you be that tourist in your own town, everywhere. You know, I walk out of my front door, and I just scan the neighborhood, just looking for different things. Oh, the dog's there, or you know, this, that. Not being a busybody, just scanning everything. You know,
There you go.
and
No, I have one thing to bring back to. I can remember when you were teaching the course over at Milford Christian Academy. You're lost near a stream, and there was a way to get water by digging down.
right.
Yes.
Okay.
Talk about that one.
Okay, you have a stream coming down, and you should never drink the water.
Right. Yeah.
Right. No, Giardia.
Exactly.
Giardia. Whoa.
Yeah.
You don't want that.
Yeah. No, you'll get sicker than sick with Giardia.
And you purge at both ends.
Exactly.
What you do is, from that stream, you go back 8 to 10 feet, and you start digging down. You're making a well of your own. And usually you go down about 3 feet. And, you know, you say, I don't have a shovel.
Sticks.
You got a stick.
Exactly.
You know, there were tools out there that everybody uses.
Yep.
They're out there. So you just start digging down. Pretty soon it'll get moist. And you dig a little farther, and all of a sudden a little water comes in. You go a little farther. and running water starts to come in. Go away, you come back in an hour or so, and all the mud has settled to the bottom, and you've got beautiful, giardia-free water.
Yep. The ground, the rocks, the sand, everything, natural filter.
Natural filter.
Natural filter.
Right.
You got the water right there. We tried that. We used to backpack up near the east branch of the Pemmy.
Okay.
And yeah, we walked in the 8 to 10 feet and dug down, and yeah, it was fresh drinking water. Yeah. And the last show I think I mentioned, we had one instructor rinsed her toothbrush in the Pemmy. That's all it took.
Wow.
She went home the next morning with giardia. That's all it took. Rinsing her toothbrush and then doing her teeth.
Yeah.
It's scary. That can get you sicker than anything in the woods.
Right. And quite often they don't diagnose it right off.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, you know, you're going to suffer longer.
Right.
And antibiotics take care of it. Within 3 days, you're almost back to normal.
Yeah.
But you've been through quite a bit.
Yeah. So, reviewing, shelter is first. You make your debris hut. Water, you got to have water.
Right.
You can't go. You can't even go 48 hours without water.
Right.
You're sunk if you don't get water. So take your T-shirt, rub it on the grass, the leaves, collect your water that way. Might taste a little salty, from all your sweat.
But you're alive.
Exactly. If you were smart and you brought your drop cloth and you have your container, you can get water that way. Or if you're lucky enough and you're lost by a stream, creek, river, 8 feet in, 3 feet down, you have your water. You got your fire then you have your fire. If you don't carry a lighter, hopefully you have a flint.
Right.
Or now we had the bows, and in fact I remember your sample bow you gave to me, and I used it several times. Very good. It works.
Yeah.
So folks, safety is the most important thing. You get lost in the woods, don't panic, and take a course. Read up on it, get interested in it, take a course. You never know what's going to happen in the woods. We are at the end of episode 2.
Wow.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming on my show.
It was fun.
It was a lot of fun. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Late Night with Lenette. Good night and God bless.